Yes, at St. Dominic, this is my 23rd year, and we have 12 state championships in which I'm both boys and girls combined, and part of 11 of those 12, 6 with the girls and 5 with the boys.
Wow, that's impressive. So what do you attribute your success?
I'm very fortunate, blessed that where we were in a growing area when I first came, and we're blessed with families who support our program and provide us with these very talented soccer players. And, I have an extensive background. I played D1, and I played for the very first U.S. U15 team back in 1978.
Oh, wow.
That's how old I am.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I have extensive background. I, too, played for the same club that Tim was spotlighted on, Scott Gallagher.
Yeah.
So we share in that. So I brought, obviously, an idea to the program. And Tim was part of our first state championship of the boys in 2004 as a junior.
Mm-hmm.
Played all 4 years for me, and he also played basketball, and he was an extremely talented and athlete. So, he always brought that to the table for us.
Was he, from what I've heard a lot, is just the maturity for his age always seemed to kind of be one of those things that kind of propelled him to the next level, because he was able to be calm and kind of know as a coach kind of out on the field, like what to do and when to do it, and nothing really rattled him.
Yes, he always brought that characteristic of being poised under pressure and always reading the game, very intelligent student of the game. His dad was a coach, obviously, and helped out in that manner. So he had the insight into the game way above his age. And I don't think people realize exactly how good he was. He's one of the few players, and I bring him as an example, not because he's a great role model, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think he's one of the few players that I ever had who could spot somebody 50, 60 yards and put it right onto their foot.
Yeah. Is that just talent, or you just feel like he's put in the work?
He put in the work, and I think it wasn't just natural. I think he had to work at it, but he was so fluid in his motion and fluid in how his game was and his skill that it didn't look like he was putting forth a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a blessing that a lot of coaches overlook, I think, because they think maybe he's not putting forth a great effort.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so smooth, and so he read the game always 2 plays ahead, so he was always in the right positions and always doing things that were unexpected. Yeah.
Now, I know it's been almost 20 years since you've been with him as a player coach. But do you have any stories or any things that you remember, like, this is something that we worked on with Tim, or this is what I remember us being able to do that kind of grew Tim as a person?
Well, I think his character stands out. He still is in touch with our program through, and I don't know if you're aware of this, the virtual soccer schools.
Mm-hmm.
And he does this twice a year for our program, and we are so honored and privileged. My players really for the mental health side of things, and that's a whole story in itself. How he's a role model and how he's willing to help kids throughout the world. I mean, this is a global effort, but that always stood out to me is just his personal character. He has the highest ideal and highest standards of how he works in life principles and how he treats everyone. And that's why he's such a great leader. That's why he's so valuable to every team he's ever been part of.
Cool. I noticed one of the things that just early here, communication, like that, it's almost like the over communication. Like it feels like it's something that like he feels strongly about that really makes things work, especially as a defender. Did you see that when he was in high school?
Yes, in a very subtle way, he would communicate to his back line, to his fellow players. And, like I said, that was part of his character. I mean, he just wanted everybody to be at the top level and play up to his standard. And he raised the level of everyone around him by doing that. But yes, I'm sure with his experiences over the years that communication has even become even greater. And, that's one of the things that I saw from him as a freshman on varsity, that he was that kind of a player.
Now, we know when kids are in high school, they're not necessarily physically developed in the way that they are when they're older. What was kind of his build and like when you saw him as a freshman playing for you versus, where we see him now?
Yeah, he had a slight build, and, his strength was built up over that time of 4 years, and then at St. Louis University as well. I think what stood out more so is that he was so smooth and technical on the ball, so fluent with his movement. He's so smooth that, I can remember coaches coming up, our opponents' coaches coming up to him after games and just saying, wow, you're a great player, and I think he always appreciated that fact too.
Did you always see him as a defender, or did you kind of move him around because of his talents?
Yeah, he started out at, when he was a freshman at wing back, and then he ended up in the middle back. But we actually, his senior year, we pushed him into kind of a defensive midfield role. And, he just never lost possession of the ball. He always made the right decision with the ball. And he could take people on, and he had that left foot of his is golden,
Yeah.
And he could take a shot from distance. And so he was just fun to watch, really a joy to watch in his 4 years here.
And I guess from afar, it's probably been fun to watch his career develop, knowing that you were kind of part of that and helping him grow.
Small part, yes. Your high school years, you like to think that the players are learning a little bit. I've always tried to challenge them and let them his game speak for itself. And, I thoroughly enjoyed having him on the team. But, it was really cool, especially in the World Cup, because we had both him and Josh Sargent, who were St. Dominic students. And so our whole school got behind that. It was really cool.
That's exciting. Yeah.
We have his jerseys. We have both jerseys of the World Cup hanging up in our gym lobby. And it's quite an honor to have those guys who are part of our community. And they're always willing to, if we reach out, to them, which I don't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a need, I'm sure they respond. Like, I've never asked them for, like, hey, help us out here. But,
right.
I'm sure if ever the case came up where we would need that, I'm sure he would respond. But like I said, through VSS, that's extraordinary. Our players are really benefit from that experience every, twice a year.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years.
That's pretty exciting.
All of his siblings played for me,
mm-hmm.
Which is, I don't think he talks about that too often, but they all were great players in their own right. And if I'm not mistaken, I think all of them won a state championship here at St. Dominic as well. So they were all very good players and all, very top class people.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Coach, and best of luck this season.
Awesome. I appreciate your coverage, and hopefully if you see Tim, tell him I said hi, and we look forward to seeing what comes out of Charlotte this year. We're rooting for him.
Yeah.
I just bought, tell him I bought a pair of shorts for Charlotte. They're our school colors, actually, the gray and the blue and the...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like... So I wore it to practice, and they were like, oh, at first they were like, oh, yeah, we got to get those, that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, I said, yeah, I had to because of Tim. I had to start rooting for him at Charlotte.